We are rolling.
All right, guys, welcome back to part 2 of our 3-part, very, very special walk-around videos of just truly extraordinary bikes. And this one I am extremely excited about because I've always loved that middleweight class, the super sport class bikes, and the pinnacle of it is just Moto2 bikes today, right? The pinnacle of modern super sport classes is the Moto2. We're back with Tom Tether from GP Motorbikes, and let's just start with, tell us about the bike, the history.
Sure.
What is it,
This is 2018 Kalex Moto2. It's the middle class for the World Championship Motorcycle Grand Prix Series. This bike is the championship winning bike from Pecco bagnaia in 18.
Unbelievable. Can you help us understand what is the difference between a GP bike and like a production bike, right? Because I think there's a lot of the viewers for the channel already track motorcycles, or they're getting into tracking motorcycles, but there's this big departure from what you and I, go into a Yamaha dealership, what we buy there, versus what we see here in front of us, right? Obviously the look is a little bit different, but like, what makes it so special? Yeah,
that's a great question. I mean, most people just say, oh, it's just a CBR 600 RR, and it does have that as the motor as a base plate, but this is the last year of the 4-cylinder inline Honda 600cc motors. And that's really where the similarities with the street bike ends. So it has the base motor.
The motor really
is the motor is really like a superbike spec motor with a kit first and second gears, so it works better on the GP tracks.
Right.
A slipper clutch and a header, and the ECU is HRC, Honda Racing Corporation, with a Dorna piggyback on top of it.
So Honda tunes the motor specific to the requirements, regulations for the championship.
Right.
And do the teams get to modify and play with it as well, or?
No, these are a sealed motor. They have a Dorna seal on them, so they're not allowed to modify them at all.
Right, okay, so that keeps it fair.
Keeps it fair, keeps the cost down.
Got it.
Keeps everybody on a motor-wise even playing field.
Got it. That's why the racing is so good.
Racing exactly that way,
because the bikes are literally the same in a lot of aspects, right?
And then at that point, the similarities between the teams, it runs out. It's different. So
it's the setup.
You've got Kalex, is a few other chassis manufacturers, but Kalex is the most dominant manufacturer for Moto2 frames, the most winning. Can
we talk a little bit about Kalex? Because I hear about this brand, I hear about this company. I've seen a few of their videos online. They have very little information about it, and someone as pedestrian as me, like, what's the big deal with Kalex? Why are they so dominant? What makes it special? And maybe we show some of the
come on in,
the frame.
Take a look at the frame. So the core of Kalex, the gentleman that started working on this in Germany back, I guess, in 2012, they started from square one, and it's just a incredibly engineered chassis. For example, the front end is made out of a single piece of billet aluminum.
It's beautiful. The machining alone, if you see that.
It's the tooling and the geometry and the engineering and development that's made the chassis so successful.
And it keeps it really lightweight as well.
It's a very lightweight bike. I believe it's about 315 to 320 pounds dry without gas.
Yeah, so it's even lighter than the RC, which is already super light. That's incredible, with more power too.
Very stiff frame. Yeah. And for that reason, it makes for an excellent ride. It's got a longer chassis.
I see.
It's a very stable. Stable chassis. It doesn't want to throw you either way.
I see.
Front ends. I've never been able to get them to chatter, but I'm not a professional rider. It's just a fantastic bike.
So what's special about it is truly the frame itself. The chassis is what's special. What about the suspension, the forks?
Sure. This bike's suited up with Öhlins racing suspension, and. In the World Championships, either Öhlins or WP, and obviously these are...
So these are Öhlins?
Yes, sir.
But the World Championships run WP?
No, the KTMs would run WP.
Right, of course, okay. And in the brake system here, what type of master cylinder? And
Brembo master cylinder and billet, dual Brembo discs up front. They're below the aerodynamic hood of the front.
Right, this fender here is already different than what you'd see on any type of production street bike, right? Like, you see how much it's aero, right? It's literally built to channel air more efficiently through that. And is it meant to cool down the rotors as well?
This particular hood does not. It does not have a drafting system on it. Some of them in the past did have a vent right in here, but
Got it. Okay. Can you talk a little bit about the dash and the data piece? Because a big part of racing, and I think as I get more serious about it, as you might be getting more serious about it, a big part of it is just understanding data, right? Understanding what are you doing in the saddle and being objective about your riding, so you can try to make that progression, right? Using data to inform those decisions. So,
come around. Yeah, we'll take a view of the dash.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about, you know, who is 2D, what is 2D, and what's the big deal about the data from a GP bike?
2D is another German company, and they're out of Karlsruhe, Germany, and they are the telemetry monitoring data acquisition company. They work off every action the rider can do on the bike, brakes, clutch, gear, the suspension movement. It all has a way of measuring this, and then that data is fed into a computer, and then they can download that at the end of the race to look at what the rider has done.
Got it.
It's sent also via GPS sensors.
Oh wow, to the engineers.
Yes, they don't allow real-time telemetry,
Okay.
but at the end they can download it.
I see, okay. Well, let's see it turn
So
on.
if we turn it on,
Yeah,
come on
you want
in.
to come this way?
And if you take a shot down in the down there, you can see all the different data that's available on this particular menu.
Okay.
And depending on what you squeeze, for example, the front brake, the pressure is red.
Oh, you see the brake pressure.
Yeah.
Whoa.
BF is brake front.
Oh, whoa. I feel like you need like a manual to really understand what you're even seeing there, you know? Wow, okay. And then so you have brake pressure, you have all those other sensors, of course.
Right.
And then as a pilot, as a racer, do they like look at a lot of this stuff while they're riding and like, do they make adjustments?
They may look at the shifting light.
Right, of course.
But they're not going to look at the data very much.
Right.
And they may look at the revs from time to time, but I doubt it.
Right. Do they change the mapping? Are these for mapping
There's
controls?
mapping controls, yes,
Okay.
for fuel consumption if they needed it.
Got it. So
safety on and off, rear light for rain.
right.
There's no driver aids on these.
Okay.
On this Moto2.
Let's talk about that. What does that mean? What does no driver aids means for
So there
folks?
isn't any traction control
Okay.
or anti-wheelie or auto blip or auto downshift.
Really?
This is a manual.
Just purely analog.
Yeah,
Truly.
in that regard.
Okay, that's cool.
The newer Moto2s, the Triumph-based motor, have
Auto blip.
ECU
Okay.
manageable pseudo driver aids, pseudo
Okay.
rider aids.
But do they still have? Do the new models have traction control?
They have it in the ECU by monitoring by managing the throttle.
I see.
But I don't believe they have physical traction control.
I see. Okay. And then there's no auto blipper.
I think they do have auto blip in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this generation
does not.
is slipper clutch only.
Correct.
So you're still operating everything
Manually.
Very
Yeah.
analog. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Anything about the kind of design here? Do you guys see how big this fender is? That is just ridiculous. It's like
Yeah.
one continuation of the swing arm.
Very large, robust rear swing arm.
Yeah.
Aids the rigidity.
Wow.
Everything's jigged in the way the wheels hook up so it lines up straight. You can manage the chain width here. Disc brake in the rear. Magnesium wheels.
Magnesium wheels. Okay, of course.
Yeah.
So forged magnesium.
Rear brake, rear set. Again, telemetry.
Yeah, and a lot of data sensors right here. Do you see
Speed
this beneath
sensors.
that? Yeah, that's really cool. Wow. Let's start her up.
Okay.
Can we?
Sure.
Yeah, we just want to hear it.
Let's give it a little pause for a second.
Pause it real quick. Yeah. There we are.
Okay,
Are you
you
recording?
can stand on the starter.
So this guy here? Mm-hmm. You want me to this one?
Yep, you can go ahead and roll it.
I'm so scared.
Go ahead.
Just record from this side with the exhaust. Check that out. That's bitchin'. That's a race bike.
Yeah, that's a bike.
Yeah. Wow. Is there like a warm-up sequence for these?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want to get the oil temp up,
Right.
the water temp up before you spank it, but
Right.
it's not. That's the nice thing about it. It's really a simple
It's
motor.
really usable.
Yes, this is
very-
an excellent track day bike, literally.
Right.
Yeah, it's user-friendly. The power band is even.
Yeah.
It's not a peaky two-stroke GP bike. It's
Yeah.
not a crazy 260 horsepower MotoGP.
Yeah.
This is
Usable.
usable for mere mortals.
Yeah. Incredible. What do you guys think? Special.
Also looking for crank position sensor.
There we go.
Or 750. I don't think it's 750, but 600.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so I don't know if you guys heard what we were just talking about, but I asked Tom You know, is there a special starting sequence or whatnot? And if you can explain a little bit about why this is actually quite a usable track day bike.
Yeah, this is a really user-friendly motor. It's robust. It's not fragile. You can get literally, you know, a couple years use out of it on normal track day use with one rebuild. And it doesn't have special starting data requirements or auxiliary pumps and things like our MotoGP bike. So you just turn it on, make sure the oil's the proper temperature and the water's the proper temperature, then you can go right out on the track.
Right. That's really cool. If you are interested in, you know, learning more about the Moto2 bikes, learning more about Grand Prix race bikes in general, again, reach out to Tom. I think it's just such a privilege to be able to learn from you and be able to see these bikes in the flesh. And
well, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I just hear it. Like, I mean,
Appreciate
it's just cool, right? It's just really, really cool, really unique. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank
and
you.
then I'll share all his information in the description below. And let us know if you have any questions or comments. We'd love to hear from you guys. All right, thank you. See you guys in the next video. Cool.
Awesome.